Okay, and we are recording. Welcome to our July, I cannot believe it's already July, our July Dream Team monthly call. Thank you to everyone who is on this call with us tonight. We had an amazing time at Summit, and amazing doesn't even describe the time that we had at Summit. The tips, the info that we learned, the motivation that we took away. And then not only Summit, but a lot of us were also able to do Super Saturday too, or maybe you were able to do Super Saturday and you couldn't do Summit. One or the other, whatever you attended, hopefully you came home with a lot of really good nuggets and a lot of inspiration and you were on fire. Here's where it gets tricky. And I remember this when I was working full-time. I would go to Summit and I would get all this information. I would be ready to start implementing it and I would be so excited and I would be on fire and ready to do this. And then my kids were there and my job was there and all these other things were there that I also needed to take care of. And it would kind of set me back a little bit. And I would think, well, maybe I can't do this. Maybe I'm not, able to do this. But staying on top of your organization and staying on top of your time management, it's what's going to make this happen for you. You have to really stay on top of your time management. You have to be committed to it and you have to make sure that you're organized. And that is what's going to set you apart from those that come home from Summit or Super Saturday, or maybe you didn't go. Who's going to move forward and who is not going to move forward. I have pages of notes here that I've just been writing down of things that I do to help me with time management and staying organized and things like that. So I'm going to share these pages of notes with you tonight. But to kind of help me also, in the comments, in the chat section, I want to know what is keeping you from managing your time effectively right now. So if you can start typing that in the comment section, and that way I can know to touch on those things if I don't touch them during this call. What is keeping you from managing your time effectively right now? Almost everyone on this call either has a full-time job, a part-time job, you stay at home with kiddos, which is just as time-consuming, if not more. You're busy. We have a lot going on, and we have to learn how to fit coaching into our existing schedule. We can't really change our schedules around a whole lot because it's life. So we have to figure out how to fit coaching into our already busy schedules. And if you want to make this something, and if you want to implement all those strategies and you want to stay motivated with what you're already doing, then you have to manage your time better. And you may even have to make some sacrifices. You may have to cut some things out of your schedule that maybe aren't helping you to move your business forward. And I know for me, a lot of times when I sit down, I think that in my head, is what I'm doing right now helping me move my business forward? Is me scrolling through Facebook helping me move my business forward? Is me watching whatever I was just watching upstairs, some Nickelodeon slime show, helping me move my business forward? No. Those things are not helping me move my business forward. Yes, they're enjoyable. Yes, they're necessary in life. Yes, I do want to continue doing those things I like. But we also have to think, are these things helping us move our business forward? And especially if you want big things out of this business, and that's exciting. That's exciting to want and to see big things. You're building something up. The fact you might have to give away a half hour of a TV show to build an incredible business, that's exciting. Okay, so we're going to get started. And we're going to first just kind of talk about some tips on how to stay organized, things you can do to stay organized. And I want to start by saying it's discipline. Time management and organization are discipline. Just like getting your workout in every day, just like staying on top of your nutrition, it's discipline. You have to stay disciplined with this. And you have to work from a list. So there's kind of your tip number one. You have to work from a list. This list can be wherever you want it to be. It can be in a notebook, it can be on paper, it can be in a calendar, it can be in an Excel document, it can be on your phone, whatever works for you. There is no right or wrong way to do this. Whatever works for you is what you need to do. And you may have to try some things out. I was on a call with Lindsay Rourke not long ago, and she wanted to know how I was tracking people. And I said, well, I'm back to pen and paper. And I've been on Excel, and I've been on Teamsy, and I've been here, and I've been there, and I've tried it all to see what works best for me. What works best for me, I've decided, is pencil and paper in a notebook. I just have a notebook, just like this, just one of these Walmart notebooks. and I keep a list in there of the people that I am talking to. And I have found if I do that by month and I just flip the page, that is what works best for me. That may not be what works best for you, but for me, that works. And it also works because I can carry it around. I really like Excel a lot, but I feel like I've got to be on my computer and I've got to sit down in my office. And if I can take this notebook somewhere and have that list with me, that's super helpful. I took this notebook on vacation with me, and I just went through that list of connects, and I just reached out to those people on their social media page and commented on their things, and that just made it so much easier. So you have to work from a list when it comes from your challengers, the people you're going to be reaching out to about challenge groups. You have to work from a list about coaches. Who are you reaching out to about coaching? And if you have not been doing this, and you've been coaching for a while, that's okay. Don't stress out and don't think you have to go back and start creating lists from months ago, because I know for me, I didn't work from a list for like the first year of my business, and it was a huge mistake. I should not have done that, but I didn't. And then whenever someone said you really need to be working from a list, I tried to like go back and write all the names down from months ago. Don't do that. Just start today. Start today working from a list and writing names down. Don't spend hours creating a list. Just start today with your list. Okay, let me make sure. I think that was about it on creating a list. Okay, number 2, you need a calendar. How many people did not know that there was a call tonight until I messaged you on a strand? I bet about half of you, if you're being honest, yeah, I see Luania raising her hand, and I bet Luania is just the only one being honest right now. I bet probably half of you did not realize there was a team call tonight until I messaged you or put it on a strand or something like that. You got to know these things in advance, not only for you, but for your family. Like my husband knew weeks ago that I was going to have a team call tonight, because that's important for us to stay in communication with each other, for him to know, like, he's in charge of the kids right now. I've got this going on. You have to have a calendar just for Beachbody. Just a Beachbody calendar. You can go to Target and get one for a couple of dollars. I see people saying they had it on their calendar. I love it. And you have to have that calendar that says things like team calls, that says things like power hours. Do you know when the next power hour is for our team? Like, we give you multiple opportunities to step on the power hours. Lisa Cook's doing one tomorrow. So if you don't know that, put it down there. There is a calendar in the Dream Team, and I take a little bit of time at the end of each month to create a calendar for the next month. When that comes out, get your Beachbody calendar out and write those dates down in your calendar so that you know. You don't have to attend every power hour. The reason we have multiple power hours scheduled is so that you can pick one or two to attend. We try to make them at different times, different days, so that it will work for you. So you can find one that'll work for you. Figure out one or two that you can go to and plug it into your calendar. Have just a Beachbody calendar. My calendar also, on Sundays, I write down what my focus is for the week, so that I know this week I'm focusing on inviting to Lift 4. This week I'm focusing on inviting to coaching. This week I'm focusing on my free group. It tells me exactly what my focuses are. That way, when I sit down to work, I know exactly what I'm working on. And that calendar is also something that I can carry along with my notebook. So if I'm going on vacation or if I'm heading out the door, I can throw it in a backpack if I think I might have some free time. But again, if you would rather have your calendar on your phone, that's totally fine too. We actually have an app. You may have seen me post about it on Facebook. It's called Cozi, C-O-Z-I. I have a Beachbody calendar that's just Beachbody stuff sitting on my desk. Like, it's a handwritten calendar. But then anything that's going to affect my family, like a call tonight or Super Saturday or whatever it may be, goes on that Cozi calendar so that they can see those things are happening, and that's important. So I do put Beachbody things on our family calendar, but I don't need to clutter up my family calendar with Beachbody. My Beachbody calendar just needs to be something I sit down and I see what my focus is for the week. My calendar also has, and you can get them like this, where it has the month at a glance, but then it also has weeks. so that I can sit down on Sunday night and plan out my week, my different activities for the week. And I'm going to kind of talk about that a little bit more whenever I go into what my day looks like and how I organize my day and things like that. So you need a calendar, you need a notebook. That's how you're going to stay organized. So once you're organized, once you have everything you need, how are you going to plan out your day? I know for me, when I started, I could not have been busier. Could not have been busier. And I know you guys have all heard my story before, but I was a full-time working teacher in a targeted classroom. I had two little kids at the time. We were building a house. Like, we were building the house. So my husband was never home. I had to find pockets of time to work in. And I'm going to kind of just share with you what my day looked like. That way, and this took a long time for me to figure out what was I doing in the morning, what was I doing at this time. But I'm going to share with you, that way if you're working full-time, if you have little ones, you can kind of go off this schedule and see, oh, this is a good activity to do at this time or this time. And then I'm also going to share what I do now. So when I started, I woke up early. That was one of those things that I gave away, getting to sleep in until I absolutely had to roll out of bed to go to work. I woke up early to work my business. When my Energize, and it wasn't Energize then, what was it called? It was like E&E or something like that. It was something different at that time. But when I was waiting for it to kick in, I had activities that I did. Part of that was my morning routine. Now, I didn't do all of this then, but now, while I'm waiting for my Energize to kick in, I write my things that I'm thankful for. I look at my list of what I need to do today in my business. I do my morning devotion. Whatever your morning routine looks like, your prayer, whatever you do in the morning, that's what I do whenever I'm waiting for my Energize to kick in. Then if I have extra time, I'm responding to messages, because when I shut my computer down, I shut my computer down at night. So if there's people that have messaged me after I've went to bed or whatever, or put my phone away for the night, in the morning while my Energize is kicking in is when I'm responding to those messages. In the morning when my Energize is kicking in is when I'm replying to comments and keeping engaged on my social media pages. If someone said something on my social media post, that's when I'm responding to that, when my Energize is kicking in. Then I get my workout in and I push play. I would listen to personal development in the shower in the morning, or when I was doing my makeup, or on my car drive. I had a 30-minute drive to work every morning. So that was, if I wasn't carpooling, I carpooled a lot. If I wasn't carpooling, that was a really good time for me to listen to personal development. I did not read one personal development book until I left teaching. I did not have time. There was no time in my day to read a book. I listened to all of them on Audible. There's an app called Audible. If you don't have it yet, you can download it on your phone. You buy the books off Amazon and they go straight there. That's how I listen to all of it, that or podcast, one or the other. So I would do my PD at that time. I was a teacher, again, of targeted kids. That means I didn't have very much free time at all during the day. When those kids walked in the door, and honestly, an hour before they walked in the door, I was busy. I was super, super busy. Rarely did I have time at lunch or time like during break to work on business type things. But if I did, that's when I checked in with my challengers. That's what I did during that time. I would check in with my challenge groups during that time, or maybe respond to messages that were sent. I wasn't allowed to post on social media during school hours, so I couldn't post or do anything like that, but it was a good time for me to respond to messages and check on my challenge group. So if you have some time during your full-time job where you get a break or a lunch and some downtime, that's some good activities that you can do during that time. After work, I would stay after work however long I had to for my job, and then I would typically stay after another 15 or 30 minutes to work on Beachbody stuff, because I knew that the minute I walked in the door at home, it was crazy. It was crazy town. So I needed to get it done before then. After work for 15 to 30 minutes was a good time for me to do those, what I call mindless activities, the activities that are super easy, you don't have to think really hard about doing, like sending birthday messages. I would do that at that time. I would add people. That's a super easy thing to do, adding people to your network. I would do shout outs to people during that time. I would maybe connect, just go from my list, my book that I would carry around, of people I needed to connect with, and go to their social media page and connect with them. Those were some really good things to do in that 15 minutes that I didn't really have to sit down and get situated. I could just easily do those things. From the time I got home until bedtime, I was not on my phone at all, period. My computer, nothing. There was no time for that at all. But after the girls went to bed, then I would work another 30 minutes typically. Whenever my goals got bigger and I knew I wanted to quit my job is when it was probably like an hour, maybe plus at that time. But just to build up to where I was, it was about 30 minutes then. And at that time, it was either team calls that were happening at night, or my inviting was happening, or checking in, or more personal development, just things like that were the activities I was doing. But I want to say, I think a lot of people think, like now that I'm at home and I can do this full time, that it's super easy because I have this big open schedule and I can just do whatever, whenever. I actually think it became harder whenever I stayed at home and did this full time, because that's when I really had to manage my time. When you're super busy, that time is so sacred, and you have that 30 minutes and you've got to crush it during that 30 minutes. When you're home all day, you're like, hey, I'll get to it later. And it probably took me about a year of being at home and working my business to really get it under control. So if you're at home and you're you're a stay-at-home mom, or maybe you work from home, or whatever the case may be, for me, it's very helpful, and this might also help you if you have a full-time job, to keep a list of activities I need to do daily. So I have a list of things that I do on Monday. I have a list of things that I do on Tuesday, and I am actually go so far as to make a calendar. I know from this time to this time, I'm working on my business. From this time to this time, I am doing laundry. From this time to this time, this is happening. So I actually have a calendar set out. But just a list, I think, is super helpful. So I know every Monday, I send out motivational messages to my challengers. That's just something I do on Mondays. It always happens. I have a list in this notebook so that when I sit down, I'm not trying to think of what I need to do. I know on Mondays, I send out motivational messages to my challenger. I know on Wednesdays, I check in with my leads. So any leads in Facebook, I've messaged them on Wednesday. That's an activity that I do on Wednesday. On Friday, I'm always a student, because Friday, you don't really get a lot of conversations from people. They're busy. They're ready for the weekend. They're not wanting to talk. So on Friday, that's my day that I'm a student, and I learn about Instagram or this or that. I find whatever training I may need to find. If I've missed a team call from the week, that's a good time for me to catch up on a team call. So I keep a list of activities that I do daily, and I work from that list when I'm at home. Okay, let me look at my thing here. I've got more, don't worry, but I want to make sure I didn't leave anything out on that. Oh, I do want to say I have an order of how I go with the things that I do. Number one is always me. No matter what, I am always first. Always. My workout is always first. My nutrition is always first. My shake is always first. My personal development is always first. I always come first. Before my challengers, before my team, sorry guys, before anyone, I always come first, because I know that if I don't take care of me, then I can't take care of you. And you see me preach that all the time. So I'm always first. Second, and this is if I'm on a time crunch, second is always my challengers. They always come second, because they're the ones that have already committed with me. They're the ones that have already signed up. They're the ones that have already put their trust in me. So they always come second. Again, on a super busy day when I don't have a lot of time. Number three is growing my own personal business, sending out invites, doing things like that are going to help me grow our team and my business. That's always number three. Number four is my coaches. Helping my coaches comes last. Sorry. But I think I heard Julie say not long ago, you're all big girls, you can do this. So number four is always my coaches. So it's me, my challengers, growing my personal business, my coaches, and then last is extras, like training and things like that. So if it's a busy day when I don't have a lot of time at all, that is the order that I do things. Okay, I am going to give you just a few tips now that I have, just some time management tips that I really hope help you. For me, my girls sleep, and I'm sorry that I'm saying this, but my girls sleep. They sleep a lot. Like they sleep 12 hours a night, and they've slept 12 hours a night since they came home from the hospital. They've always been sleepers. So I'm really, really sorry if your kiddos are not sleepers. But I heard a really good tip from a coach that has kids that are not good sleepers. She has a clock, and you may already know about this, but it's called a Go Green clock. And you can get this on Amazon, and it turns green when your kids can come out of their room. And she said she just had to spend time training your kids. You don't come out of your room until this clock is green. And she called it a Go Green clock. That way, you know, every day you have until 7:30 or 8 or 6 or whatever time it is for you. I don't know what you all are saying, but I can see comments. That way you know that you have this amount of time to get this done, and they can't come down the stairs until then. But you know what? My kids are kind of the same. They know that I have until this time, and if they wake up early, I'm working on work at that time. So that's not them time. That's mommy's working on work time. Next is communicate. So your clock is the first little tip I had. Communication. And I know I've preached on this before. Communication with your kids, number one. Your kids are smart. You can talk to them about your goals. You can talk to them about what you're doing. My kids have always been involved in my goals. They ask me what star I am, what I'm doing, what's going on here. They know that I'm not just coming down to my office to like get away from them or not watch TV with them tonight or whatever. They know that I'm working on a goal. Talk to your kids and explain to them what you're doing. Don't keep it a secret. And now I know obviously if they're 2, they're not going to understand. But if they're older than that, they're going to get it. And it's something that you can have a conversation with them about. Also, communication with your spouse. And I know we've talked about this, and I know we've talked about this on the strand, and I know it's been everywhere. But communication with your spouse so that they know what you are doing. They don't think you're just going down your computer and talking to a bunch of strangers. Share your goals with them so that they know what you're doing, what you're spending your time on. Make family goals. For me, we made family goals. When mommy hits this goal, we're going to go do this as a family. This is the goal. And they were right there behind me, cheering me on. So communication is going to be a key to time management too. Another thing, if you're not using voice messages in Facebook, start using them. They are such a time saver, especially when you're really cramped on time. And people like to hear your voice too. They like to hear that it's you. They like to know who they're talking to. And there's actually even an option on your phone, and some of you may have gotten one of these from me, where I can say, we have a team call tonight, I hope to see you there. And then I can forward that message to every person on our team. That saves me 20 minutes from having to message each one of you separately. You can do that if you're following up with people. Record one message. Hey girl, just wanted to see if you're still wanting to join this group. We start on Monday. I really hope you're going to join us. Forward that to the 5 people that you've been talking to about joining the group. That will save you so much time. And again, they like to hear your voice. They want to hear from you. It makes it more real when they hear from you. Another little tip is ask your spouse for accountability. I've had to do this often. I'll have to say, I'm done working at 10. Make me get off my computer at 10. Because I could totally sit here and talk to people about their health and fitness goals until 2 in the morning because I love it. I could do it all night. I could help my coaches with their goals all night because I love it. I have to tell my husband, make me get off the computer at 10 because if not, I'm going to be on it all night. So ask your spouse or whoever is with you for accountability on your time management so that you don't sit there all night. And then be okay with it when they tell you to get off the computer. Don't yell at them whenever they ask you to get off the computer. And then one last little thing, I feel like when you get your time management under control, you're not going to feel guilty. And I think a lot of times, especially moms in the group, we feel guilty. We feel guilty if we're spending time on this instead of with our spouse or instead of with our kids. But if you get your time management under control, and if you wake up 30 minutes early, or if you do this at night and you say, these are my business hours, and you really stick to those and you really have your organization so that when you sit down, you're not trying to figure out what to do, but you know what to do. If you're organized and you have everything in order, you're not going to feel that guilt. You're going to feel good. You're going to feel like you've crushed your business. And I can say that because today I slept in. I needed to sleep. I slept in today. So I didn't get everything done. I woke up when my kids woke up today. That hasn't happened in like a year. And all day I was like, oh, I need to work on this. I need to work on this part of my business. Oh, I need to check in my challenge groups. Oh, I haven't sent out something to the dream team about the call tonight. All day I was thinking about these things I needed to be doing because I didn't get them done this morning. And then I was feeling guilty because I was on my phone and I was doing this and I wasn't jumping on the trampoline and they wanted me to jump on the trampoline. And we've all been there. But if you're organized and you have that time set aside, you're not going to feel guilty because you're going to have it done before they wake up. Or they're going to know nap time is when mommy works on this, or this time is whenever I do this. So I really feel like you staying on your time management and you staying organized is going to help with that guilt a little bit too. This is also a phone business. Most of us work from our phones, and that's okay. And I think a lot of times there's a negative connotation around phones. Like, you're on your phone, you're on your phone. What are you doing on your phone? We work our businesses on our phone. That's what we're doing on our phone, is we're working. And that's okay. But again, you got to communicate and say, I'm working. That's what I'm doing on my phone. I would rather be on my phone a few times a day when my kids are swinging or doing this or doing that than driving an hour to work and being away from them all day long. I'd much rather be on my phone a few times during the day than be at work all day. So I just think keeping that communication open and not feeling guilty about doing this for you too. It's okay to do something for you. It's okay to have something for you, something that's yours. You don't have to feel guilty about that. It's all right. Okay, guys, I think that is all that I had on my tips for time management, on my tips for organization. I'm going to stop the recording and see if there was anything that I missed or if you guys had any questions.